Welcome everyone, I'm Amy. I'm an NPC bikini competitor and I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner, and this is my Olympia recap. So I thought I would do a quick recap video just to get it out there this week so there's some content, and then in my next week video I'll start talking about my reverse process, my check-ins, all of that kind of good stuff. I guess one last tan picture. Let's throw up the pictures I sent my coach the morning I left for the Olympia. Oh, I was still tan, and as you know from my peak week and show day vlog, I did get the self-tanning lotion to try to keep my tan going throughout the Olympia so I didn't look so much like a mangy animal. It was moderately successful. I used it every day. I don't really know if it made a difference. However, I will say this, it has virtually zero smell. It has a slight smell of self-tanner, but for me, it was completely tolerable. Like, I didn't even realize I had it on. So if you are looking for a self-tanning lotion that doesn't have smell, but I can't really totally say it did a lot with tanning. I need to try it again. Once I get all the show tan off, I am going to try it again and see what I think, but so far, so good. So there's one little recap, and then we'll dive into the Olympia. So I actually just got back last night. So if I sound a little, I know I've said this in the last couple of videos, I've been talking a lot recently, but the expo was really loud, so I felt like I was having to shout. It was kind of like being at a concert for 2 days. And then yesterday I drove straight through from Vegas. It took me just over 10 hours. It actually took me 10 hours and 9 minutes of driving time. And then of course it doesn't count the time where I was stopped for gas or when I ate lunch. I stopped one time to go to the bathroom when I was only like 45 minutes outside of Denver, but I'm like, I can't make it. I just couldn't make it. And then I ate my final meal in the car in the dark. So I had a easy trip back. It was Sunday, so I had football to carry me through the whole way, which was great. So let's go back in time with me to let's start off with last week. So I'm only 1 week and 2 days out from my show, but when I left for the Olympia, I was just a couple of days out. So my show was Saturday, I had Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, and I left on Wednesday. I did take 2 days to drive to Vegas, and I will explain why. So I wanted to make cookies for all of the people that were going to be at the expo booth, and also just for all of my AB Live friends. So Tuesday afternoon after work, I made all of the cookie dough. So I made all the different batches of cookie dough. I made what I will call an ultimate peanut butter. So it was a peanut butter cookie with Reese's Pieces, peanut butter cups, and then I chopped up a milk chocolate bar to get some milk chocolate chunks in there as well. Then I also made an oatmeal raisin cookie, specifically for my friend Colin, because he said his favorite cookies are oatmeal raisin cookies. And I made 2 different types of chocolate chip cookies. So I made like a traditional, just with milk chocolate. I did semi-sweet, a bag of semi-sweet chips, and then I chopped up another of the milk chocolate bars to put in there. And then the final cookie I made was a brown butter chocolate chip cookie. That one didn't turn out as good as I was expecting. Sorry, something is touching me. Oh, it's the plant behind me. The plant is tickling my back. That one didn't turn out quite as good and I didn't try any of them, so I actually don't know how they tasted, but the texture of it turned out a little bit dry. Colorado, we have very dry weather, so I feel like maybe it was just slightly dry that day, or maybe my eggs were a little bit small, or maybe a little bit more of the water evaporated off from when I browned the butter than I had anticipated. I should have weighed the brown butter after I browned it just to make sure if I needed to top it off with a little more butter. That probably would have solved the issue completely, but either way, you aren't here for baking advice. So made them all into balls and then froze them. So threw them in the freezer, they were good to go. So Wednesday morning, got up, did my workout because I knew it was going to be the last workout at my own gym for a few days, which was good because I probably needed a little bit of break from the gym after just coming off a contest prep. Got in a good workout and packed my car and hit the road. I was hoping not to hit traffic, so I was wanting to leave, after the rush hour traffic in Denver had kind of cleared out, but I ended up hitting pretty bad construction traffic at several points along the way, so I didn't get into my Airbnb. I booked an Airbnb about 3 hours outside of Vegas in Utah for that night because I wanted to be able to bake the cookies. So I got in really a lot later than I anticipated. It was, it had to have been close to 9. It was after 9. It was dark. It had been dark for quite some time. The good thing is because I was driving west, I kind of kept the sun with me longer because, the sun sets in the west. So it didn't get super dark until probably 7:30. So I drove the last little bit in the dark, which was fine. I mean, there's not a whole lot to see out there. It is beautiful, but there's not a lot to see. So got into the Airbnb. It was a really nice Airbnb. Threw back a protein shake, kind of unloaded the stuff from the cooler into the fridge and just went to bed. Next morning, I woke up bright and early and I ran into Walmart. I had forgotten to bring parchment paper. So I needed to grab parchment paper and some gallons of water I wanted to have because I don't like hotel water. It never tastes very good. So I grabbed a few gallons of water, came back, and I baked cookies. I did not stop baking cookies. So I'd gotten a late checkout. Like from the moment I got back from Walmart, it was probably 7:30, 8. I didn't stop baking cookies until like after 11. And the original checkout was supposed to be 11, and I needed to have time for them to like cool off so I could package them up and take them with me. So I was literally just baking nonstop. I will insert the video here that I sent my assistant of this table, and this was a big coffee table that this Airbnb had, and you will see that it is completely covered in cookies. I made so many cookies. And my original plan, you saw the cookie boxes in my last video, was to package them all up in those little cookie boxes. Well, I realized that I had so many that was going to be an unmanageable amount of boxes. So after I did about like 9 or 10 of the boxes, I was like, this is not gonna work because I already had a really big stack and it was only like 10 boxes. So I ended up just throwing them all into the little baggies that you see them in on the table. Just little baggies of 2, because I figured that was good because you can't just give somebody 1 cookie, you gotta give them 2 cookies. So that was fun. So I was able to get everything packed up. I literally left at like 12:54. The timing was perfect. Drove the rest of the way to Vegas. I was thinking in my mind that'd be perfect timing because my check-in at my Airbnb there, was at 4 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Well, I forgot about the time change. So I ended up getting to Vegas a little after 3 Vegas time, but I was still able to check in. So the Airbnb I stayed at there is actually a timeshare. So it's a Hilton. It was a Hilton Hilton Club. So it had a full kitchen, had a big bedroom. It was a beautiful room. Like, it was so nice. I think it had recently been one of the ones that they've remodeled. Highly recommend. It was so nice too because there's no casino there, even though it was walking distance to everything, which was amazing, but it was just nice because it was calm. You know how it is when you're in Vegas and you have to like walk through the casino every time you need to get to your room or go anywhere, and it's loud, and that some of them allow smoking still, and it's just a lot of chaos, and I feel like that kind of like drains my like sensorium a little bit. So not having to deal with the casino was so nice. So it smelled really nice because it's a non-smoking facility, and it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. So it was great. So same thing, I just unloaded everything, went for a walk. I had dinner with the AB Live crew. We'll talk about that. So I went for a nice walk. It was beautiful in Vegas. It was like 100 degrees when I got there. It was so nice. And then got back to the hotel. I didn't make it over to the athletes meet and greet because the timing was just kind of awkward. It didn't start, I could have gotten in at 7, but like the timing wise to then get to the restaurant, which was going to be a little bit of a trek. I was thinking I'd take the monorail because the monorail goes right there, but I ended up just doing a lift to get there. So we had dinner with the AB Live crew. It was set up by Chase. So if you don't follow Chase Irons, you absolutely should. I don't know how many links I can put in the video, but they'll all be in the description box, and I'll put a little picture of everybody's channels up as I talk about them. So Chase Irons is the one who did the booth. So the booth was called Chase Iron and Friends, and he's also the one who arranged the dinner. So it was at a steakhouse near the MGM, and it was really fun. So that's where I got to meet Paul and Colin and Colton. Again, he has a channel that I will put a picture of and link. Also Kurt Stevens and Vigorous Steve. I don't know Steve's last name, and I know his first name is not Vigorous. So Vigorous Steve was also there, and Aaron. I got to meet Aaron. You'll see a picture of them later. So they were all there, and it was just really nice. It was so late though. So it was 9:30. Our reservation was at 9:30 Vegas time, so it was 10:30 for me. So by the time dinner came out, I mean, even the appetizers, it was like well over an hour later. I mean, I think they probably brought our dinner around 11 p.m., so midnight for me. But I did eat because it was the first food I've had that I did not make myself since I started prep. I got the steak tartare. It was fantastic. It was so delicious. And everybody's food looked outstanding. Like, it looked so good. So it was really fun. So I got to just kind of meet everybody and hang out that first night. And I was bummed. I didn't get, and you'll see this as a theme, I'm the world's worst vlogger. I did not get really any pictures at all. I took this random picture when I came back from my hotel, from dinner, because I'm like, I should get a picture of myself dressed up because people probably don't believe that I don't just roll in my posing suit and workout clothes 24/7, but occasionally I do get dressed up. It is a picture of a reflection of me in the window. I walked into the room and I was like, oh, I should take a picture of myself. So I took that picture, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So it is what it is. It's the only picture I have of myself from the entire weekend, except for there's one later from the expo. So the expo the next morning started with the VIP entrance. You could get in at 8, but we were all kind of, I mean, everybody, I mean, most everybody else had come from the East Coast. I mean, for them, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning by the time we even got home from dinner. So it was pretty late. So I was also meeting up with Todd Lee the next day. Again, here's a picture of his channel. It's linked in the description box below. And he got in to Vegas kind of late also. So we were kind of, I said, well, you know, let's just maybe do 10, because there was nothing on the expo stage that I was like desperate to see that started. The expo didn't start until, or the show, like the prejudging didn't start until 9:30. So I was like, and the first ones to go on was nothing that I was like desperate to see. So I was like, I'll just get there around 10. So got to the expo the first day. I forgot to bring my camera. Didn't even think about it. I was just so excited to get there and like hang out with everybody and bring the cookies. So I had this giant bag of cookies with me. When I went through the bag check, you know, I opened it up and I said, this is my lunch, and literally it's just literally full of cookies. I mean, there was probably 30 pounds of cookies or 20 pounds of cookies, and I gave them each one, the bag check people, they each took some cookies. So it was really fun. Handed out cookies all weekend. They were great. I got rid of all of them by the end. I was a little worried on Friday night, because after Friday, I still had a lot left, but I was able to clear them all out on Saturday. So hung out with all the guys at the Chase Irons booth, just walked around the expo, took everything in. It was really awesome. It was a little different than I anticipated. I mean, knowing that it was back in Vegas after I'd been in Florida last year, I was expecting it to be like massive. And it was apparently bigger than it was in Florida last year. And then of course the year before that was still kind of weird with the illness situation happening. But it was really cool. The expo stage, so where they did all the prejudging, was like at the very back. So you kind of walked through all the booths. I mean, there were tons of booths there. I mean, supplement companies, athletic wear, all of the bikini makers, a couple of really big areas that were all gym equipment, which was super cool. So like there were people who like got full-in workouts there on this like really fancy gym equipment. So that was really fun. And just to people watch. I mean, talk about a fascinating place to people watch, but it was loud, you know, because there's a lot of people in there, and they played loud music. And then of course there was the stage music and all of that. So it was pretty stimulating environment to be in. I will say this, the convention center did an amazing job. Like the bathrooms were kept spotlessly clean the entire time. There was never a line. Everybody was extremely respectful. Like I was actually really impressed with that side of things. They kept the trashes empty. I mean, I don't know how they did it. They kept that place spotless for the entire weekend. And I mean, there was a ton of, you know, bodybuilders in there. They were eating, there were food vendors, there were also all the sample stations, and I never saw trash on the floor. Like I said, the bathrooms, I never had to wait in line. They were clean every time. They were well stocked. So from that standpoint, I was very impressed with how that all went and how in general the show was run. Like they really seemed to run things very efficiently. Prejudging was over probably around 2 or 3, and by that point I was needing to eat. I wasn't sure what the timing would be like, or what everybody might go out to lunch, or what everybody's plans were. Because the night before we all just kind of went our separate ways after dinner, because everybody was staying in slightly different hotels. So wasn't sure what everybody else was planning on doing on Friday. I didn't think anybody else had tickets to finals, because when I bought my tickets back in April for the expo, the tickets to finals were already just like far outside of my price range, and then they did sell out completely. I mean, I think there were maybe some of like the $1,500 tickets left when I got my expo tickets, and again, that was in April. So 6 months prior, they were already almost sold out. Like anything that was reasonably priced for me was sold out. So my plan, you know, was just to probably just do the live stream in my hotel. Turns out that everybody else did have tickets to finals, and there was one available for me, but it didn't end up working out because by that point I had already done something else. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. I didn't get to go to the Friday night finals, but I did watch the live stream of it, which was great. And I know there was a lot of controversy about the lighting at the live stream, and then also at finals. It was shocking to see the difference between the pictures that people who were at finals took and the way it looked on the live stream were drastically different. It was so strange. So issues there, but it was great to see all the people who won, and just, oh, what a crazy Olympia results-wise. I mean, just shakeups across the board. It was kind of nuts. So I'll talk about the rest of the expo, and then we'll talk about the actual Olympia itself. So that was Friday. Another really late night because it was over late, so I was up late, but I really wanted to be there first thing Saturday morning, because that's when they were doing the prejudging for men's physique, which I love. I love men's bodybuilding, but I also really do love men's physique and bikini. So I definitely wanted to be there to get seats. to be able to sit and watch the show, because those are really big categories and they're really long. You know, there were, in men's physique, I think there were 58 competitors, and then same thing in bikini. I didn't watch men's, what do they call that? Physique, the board short guys. They're not my vibe. I mean, they're cool athletes, but I wasn't there to see them. So it was nice that I got a break in between. So I got there at 7:30. The line was already way back out the door. And because I had the VIP, I could get in at 8, whereas everybody else, they were holding until 9. So I went straight back to, get in line to get seats for the pre-judging, and stood in that line. I mean, I didn't get in to get a seat until well after 9. So I was standing in line and had not eaten breakfast and didn't bring, I threw my bag right with all the cookies. Well, it also had my protein bar in it. I tossed it at the expo booth, at the Chase Iron and Friends expo booth. I just kind of threw it under the table on my way back to the stage, so I didn't want to carry all these cookies with me. So I had nothing to eat. I did have my water, and I was just like standing there waiting. And I wasn't even sure if I would get a seat, because they were saying it was going to be standing room only. But I did. I ended up getting a great seat, and I will insert some footage here that I took of Wesley and also of Chris Bumstead. Super cool to get to see them both live. As you can see, I was really close to the stage, but I was looking at it, completely from the side, which was actually kind of cool, because you usually at a bodybuilding show, you're only seeing the posing from, the audience view, like right from like straight on. So it was kind of cool to be on the side, because you could see what they looked like when they were turning and from different angles, which was kind of cool. And then directly to the other side was the massive big screen that had the stream on it. So it was really cool, because I could be like looking at the screen and then looking at them right there. It was really cool. I thought my seats were great. So that was really fun. I mean, that was 2 hours probably. So by that point, oh my goodness, I had to pee. I was starving. So I, jumped up, went back to the booth, and it was packed. I mean, they got slammed. Paul is such an amazing person. He stood there all day, and so did Chase. The other guys kind of came and went a little bit, but my goodness, like they were just getting pictures taken and hugs and talking to fans and clients. So many of their clients were there, so it was really fun to get to meet some of those people and share cookies with them as well. And that was really fun. So I ended up hanging out there. I mean, the day just kind of got away from me. By the time we left, or I think well, actually, I think I left a little bit before some of the other guys, but it was, it had to be 3:30, and I had been there all day, and all I'd had to eat, so I ate way too many pieces of the protein cookie or protein brownie samples that were being given out, or these little like brownie bar things. It gave me severe digestive upset. So yeah, glad I didn't actually buy it. I mean, they were delicious, but like if you eat, I mean, I ate was probably equivalent to a whole one, and whoa, did that kill my digestion that night, but beside the point. So it was really fun, and got rid of all the cookies. Was able to, I was handing them out to everybody. I left a few of the cookie boxes on the table when I left, and I took my bag and I left. So I had to run back to the hotel. We were going to meet up for dinner that night, which was just kind of a smaller group of us. Nobody except for Steve and Aaron had tickets to the finals on Saturday night. So we just decided to grab dinner, and actually Steve and Aaron came with us because they didn't need to get there right when it started. So we decided to just meet up for a nice kind of casual dinner after, and a nice early dinner. Several people had earlier flights, and then of course I was trying to leave early the next morning on Sunday morning to get back here. I can't believe that was all just like 24 hours or less than 48 hours ago. It's crazy. So I left. I ran to Walmart to pick up some ice for the cooler. They were out of ice, but I then realized I was at a hotel. There's an ice machine, so it was great. It was perfect. There was an ice maker in my freezer, but I knew that would just take way too long to make enough ice, so I was able just to fill it from the hotel ice, which was really cool. Can't believe I didn't think about that, but either way. Got back, changed. Actually, I didn't change. I kept my same expo clothes on, threw my hair in a ponytail because I was going to walk over to where we were having dinner, which was just a 15-minute or so walk away. Had dinner with just the small group, which was really nice. Oh, and the other, Ryan, I cannot forget about Ryan. Ryan Hormones for Me, his channel is also linked in right here. Ryan and Paul paid for dinner the first night at the steakhouse. I don't even want to guess how much that was. I mean, that was just above and beyond. I mean, so incredibly generous that they did that. So it was amazing. And then Steve actually ended up buying our dinner on Saturday night, which was so nice of him. We went to this great little Mexican place that was in the Resorts World. It was called Viva. It was really delicious, and oh my goodness, everybody's food looked and smelled just amazing. So that was really cool. Oh, and I will also, in the link below, I'm going to link to the place that I went for dinner on Friday night, sorry, all the days. I don't even know what, I feel like I don't even know what day today is. Like it feels like my show was like 1,000 years ago and it was literally like 9 days ago or 8 days ago. So the little hole in the wall Mexican place, if you are in Vegas and want authentic, incredible Mexican food, go to this place that's linked below. It is in a interesting part of town. I walked there from my hotel, but it definitely is in a less developed part of Las Vegas. And I cannot say enough about everything, the service, the smell when you walk in. I mean, talk about like mind blowing. It was incredible. The Mexican food at Viva, the fancy Mexican food was also really delicious. But if I had to go back to one or the other, and I couldn't go back to both, I'd go back to the one from Friday night just because the experience was so incredible. I mean, I felt like I was pretty much the only person there speaking whose native language was English. It was an awesome experience. So very cool. Both those places, highly recommend. They were amazing. The steakhouse from the first night was Bevet's. It's a Chicago steakhouse that has a location in Las Vegas, and it was also very good. So I'll put that in the link below as well, or in the description below. So it was really fun, and it was nice just to get to kind of have a quiet, right? Like after the extreme activity of the expo and just kind of the constant people, and I wasn't even getting it. I mean, no one recognized me the entire time, like at all. Like no, I mean, like aside from the people that I know, but the rest of the guys were just mobbed. Like they could barely walk without being recognized and having people coming up and taking their picture. And so cool to see that. I mean, it was really fun to watch that all happen and just to see what an amazing community of people like bodybuilding is, but that also like you draw in these really good people to you, like when you're genuine and honest, and they all are. All of these men have amazing channels where they put out real information for bodybuilders, and they really do care. And their clients were there, and it just shows what kind of men they are. It was really incredible. Like loved getting to just witness that and have them welcome me in to be a small part of that. Was just above any expectation I ever had. It was amazing. The downside is I was so enthralled with everything. I did bring my camera on day 2 and took no video. It was just so like kind of overstimulating and overwhelming. I didn't even think about it. I am the world's worst vlogger. I might get better at some point. I might not. We'll see. So I had my camera with me all day and didn't take a single video of anything. And I also didn't get any pictures, which is really, that's the one thing that bums me out. So I have this great picture of me and Steve and Aaron. I'll insert the good one and then the one that I think is more me where my eyes are closed. Oh, Aaron is so nice. He's such an incredible bodybuilder. They all are. And the caption, when I put this picture on Instagram, I put, when your friends' biceps are bigger than your waist. I mean, huge doesn't even begin to describe them. Like Aaron is a beast. They all are. But he's getting ready to compete soon. So he is in prep right now. So he is especially huge. And oh, it was so much fun. So that's the only picture I got of me and the guys, which is a bummer, but I'm sure we will all see each other again in real life at some point. So yeah, that was the expo. Oh, and I got to watch Bikini. How could I forget? So I went back. So I did go back and watch Bikini, and I got to see everybody. I watched every athlete do their routine. I watched all the first call outs. I left after second call outs just because, like I said, it was getting late at that point and I kind of wanted to get back to the booth and see what everybody's plan was. So incredible. I thought Ashley had it, but as you know, at this point, Laura Lee took first place. Oh, like what a crazy year at the Olympia. And I had Amy placing maybe higher, but then to see Jazz do so well, I mean, they all, to say that the level of athleticism and just insane beauty that these women possess is unbelievable. And of course I got to watch Jessica Wilson's performance as well. I got to meet a bikini pro that I follow, Nicole. I saw her and her husband. They were sitting right by the Chase Irons booth. I came out of the bathroom and I was like, I kind of saw her out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, that looks like her. And then I saw that they had their little food containers, which I know that she takes everywhere with her because I follow her on social media. She has an Instagram and a TikTok that I follow. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's her. So I went up and they were eating lunch. So I just quickly introduced myself to her and her husband, Kevin, and said thank you for all of her great content, and then went back to the booth. But that was really cool too. They were waiting for Bikini to start at that point. It was helpful because they had the live stream going on their phone. So I knew that when they left to go back to watch that it was time to go because that was when Bikini was starting. So it worked out really well. Selfishly, it worked out great for me. I don't know where I was going with that. Watching Bikini. Yeah, so incredible. But then the other shakeups. Oh, so going into the Olympia, if you had asked me top 3 in men's classic, I would have had Wesley in the top 3 for sure. I mean, he won the Arnold. He placed 7th, and I was just shocked. He came in off, you could tell that something was a little bit off, but man, I was still so impressed to get to see him in person. I will say this, Chris Bumstead was undeniable. I mean, when he walked out, it was over. It was his. It was crazy. So, and then with men's bodybuilding, oh my goodness, when Samson won, if you haven't watched any of the footage from that and you're into bodybuilding, you have to watch when they announced that he is the winner. It was down to him and Hottie, so he knew he was, they both were standing there. And when they announced it, he dropped down. I mean, it was just such an amazing moment and huge. I don't think I would have put Samson in first. I would have put him in the top 3. The big standout, though, was Martin. Oh, my goodness. So I've mentioned in the past that Martin Fitzwater did guest posing at my show, the first show of my season in August. He did incredible. He just blew everybody, I think blew it out of the water, to come in the top 5 in your first Olympia ever as a young man. I mean, he has an amazing, amazing career ahead of him in this sport. I mean, his symmetry and structure is just unbelievable. The other athlete that just impressed me so much was John Jewett. I thought he would have placed a little higher. He looked so good. Oh my goodness. I mean, they all look incredible, but just to see John's transition from being a 212 athlete to now being in open bodybuilding, unbelievable. He was so dry. His conditioning was so on point. I mean, he looked so good. So those were the big shakeups. And to see Missy come back and win fitness after her terrible injury last year at the Olympia, which was not even a year ago. It was like 10, 11 months ago. She had a terrible injury on stage, and for her to come back and win first place was just amazing to see. Like, that was so cool. Everybody, all the athletes there. I mean, it's just, that everybody works just as hard to get there, which is just so inspirational. I mean, more than anything now, I did feel, and I'll talk more about this next week when I talk about my reverse process. I felt the urge, I felt extremely under-muscled. When you see these bikini competitors in real life, like, the pros are different. Like, an Olympian bikini athlete is just, it's like a work of art. It's like walking art. And the wellness competitors, I mean, my goodness, the muscle that these women have is just gorgeous and so inspirational. So definitely felt a bit like the odd woman out with my very, very lean physique right now and my completely flat butt. That was humbling, but great motivation to grow. So then Sunday, I got up bright and early and drove back to Denver. And that was, like I said, I was still on the road yesterday at this time, which is kind of crazy to think, because again, it all seems like it was such a blur. I mean, what an amazing weekend. Huge, huge thank you to Ryan and Paul and Steve for dinner, for Chase for setting up the booth, everybody else who stopped by, and just the incredible knowledge that these, like I said, all these men share. I mean, Kurt and they all share so much great information online. So definitely check out their channels because they all have great stuff. And then next week, I will start talking about my reverse process and how that's all going, how I'm feeling, what the plans are, all that good stuff. If you have questions about the Olympia, drop them in the comments section below. I'm happy to answer them. I covered pretty much everything that was there. But yeah, if you have questions about anything, I'm happy to answer them. And then next week, if you have questions about my reverse or anything specific to how that's going to be going, and if you leave those questions on this video, I'll see them and be able to answer them in next week's video. So thank you all so much for hanging with me for this extremely long, rambling recap of the Olympia. It was incredible. Highly recommend. I am planning on going to the Arnold in just a couple of months. I hate that that's only like 4 months away, because what is time? So that'll be happening soon. And yeah, it's a good time in bodybuilding. By the Arnold, I'll have put on some body fat and hopefully have a little bit of a respectable booty, at least a booty work in progress. These are my goals. All right. Thank you everyone so much for being here. Spread positivity and light to yourself and everyone around you. Soak it up like this beautiful sunny day, and I will see you all here next week.